Hi everybody, and welcome back to another author help video. Today we're going to talk about how to level up your writing quickly and easily using a word frequency counter. I was recently rereading through audiobook a book that I really enjoy, Playing for Pizza by John Grisham. It's a lighthearted novel about a washed-up American football player who single-handedly causes the Cleveland Browns to once again miss out on the Super Bowl at the hands of the Denver Broncos. And he plays so badly that the only place he can now get a job is in the Italian Football League. And as I was reading, or listening if you will, something started jumping out at me, and that was Grisham's repeated use of the word wonderful. Now that might sound like a small thing, and it is, but it's still a thing. Standout words and phrases can be a distraction to the reader. Now, I'm not talking about words you use over and over like prepositions, things like that, or the word said in dialogue tags, although that can get repetitive too. A standout word or phrase is maybe a word you don't encounter very often that is suddenly being used a lot in a book. It can be a long word or a word with a lot of syllables that catches your attention. Or it might just be a typically innocuous word or phrase that the author uses so many times and in so many different ways that you start to take notice. Now let's take the example of the book I was reading, Playing for Pizza. The first time we encounter the word wonderful is the one instance that felt the most authentic to me. Our protagonist, Rick Dockery, is given some bad news and he replies, "Wonderful." The sarcastic use of wonderful is, for me these days, pretty much the only time I hear that word used, or it's certainly the most frequent, and it matches with not only what Rick's situation is at the moment, but his general attitude, which is kind of cynical and world-weary. But then Grisham starts heaping the word on. Lots and lots of things are wonderful. Rick's new apartment is wonderful. His car is wonderful. Adding a defensive back to the roster would be wonderful. The running back makes wonderful cuts. The food is, quote, great, wonderful, delicious, and unbelievable. I don't know why we needed all four in a row. The players are wonderful. The trainer gives Rick a wonderful massage. I can't imagine a football player telling their trainer, "That was wonderful," but maybe they do, I don't know. And let's not forget the adverb form. The streets are wonderfully level. Rick's girlfriend is wonderfully oblivious. You get the point. Why are repeated words an issue? Well, first of all, the repetition of this single word several times distracted me. It pulled me out of the story a little bit, and that's something we never want to do to our reader. It's sort of like when you're sleeping in a car that's driving, not when you're driving, and the driver hits a pothole and you jolt awake. Now you might go back to sleep, or you might not, but you're also going to have it in the back of your head that, oh, we might hit another pothole, and there's a little bit of a tension there. It's something else you're thinking about. And in the same way, when the reader encounters the same noticeable word or phrase over and over, they're going to start looking for it. They're no longer fully immersed in your story. Another issue is that repetition can come off as lazy. Now in this book, there's no single use of the word wonderful that's really that big a deal. Some are more fitting than others, but it's the cumulative effect of using it in so many places, in so many different ways, and sadly, it's an easy fix that could have been done. Grisham could have made use of the senses, the sense of taste, and told us what the food tasted like rather than just slapping four generic adjectives onto it. The running back could have made sharp, precise cuts instead of wonderful cuts. He could tell us what specifically Rick liked about his apartment or his car and get in some description, and also that would give us an idea of what Rick likes and values. Adding a defensive back could have been any other word that's synonymous with wonderful but not overused. Maybe terrific, excellent, great. You get the point. Another consideration is that when used in dialogue from multiple characters, repeated words and phrases are a missed opportunity to set those characters apart. Let's use an example from television. In the television show Lost, there's a character named Sawyer, who, whenever he's frustrated, says, "Some bitch." And it's kind of his catchphrase. It matches his personality, the way he says it, the way he abbreviates it. But it would lose its impact if everybody said the same thing when they were frustrated. What if everybody in Gone with the Wind didn't give a damn? It would have never become an iconic phrase. How about if "as you wish" was simply something everybody in the Princess Bride universe said, instead of something one character says to one person in response to a certain emotion? That's what made it iconic, because when we hear that phrase, we think of the character and we think of what he's feeling for the other character. Using it, restricting it to that one person, even though it's repeated, is effective in this situation. Now, when you're repeating a standout word or phrase, the words should reflect the character's personality, attitude, maybe their knowledge, their experiences, and their current circumstances and how they feel about them. Now, we could turn this into an entire talk, so I won't belabor it. But as we said, Rick Dockery is cynical, he's jaded, he's rudderless, his career is going badly, he doesn't really have any strong personal connections in his life. So the sarcastic use of wonderful fits, but him thinking that every other thing he encounters is wonderful isn't quite the same fit to me. So now we've identified the problem, how do we fix it? Identifying our own go-to words and phrases is just about impossible. It's one of those things where you really can't edit your own work for this particular problem. And it's something we can certainly and should certainly ask our beta readers and editors to look for, but it's hit or miss on whether or not they catch it. The good news is a word frequency counter is a simple and quick way to get an exact count and identify the problematic words and phrases. Scrivener has one included, but it's pretty limited in its use. It only counts single words and it doesn't exclude any generic words. So let's take a look first at Scrivener and then at another alternative that I think is better. Let's take a quick look first at Scrivener. To keep things simple, I've taken a chunk of manuscript, pasted it into a scene, and in order to get my word counts, I'm going to go to Project, Text Statistics. You get the little pop-up box, and down here at the bottom is an arrow next to word frequency, and you simply click on that arrow. As you can see, even simple conjunctions and prepositions are in here, so you'll have to scroll down a little bit before you start coming to words that might or might not be a problem. But I think there is a more efficient way to do this, and something that's going to give you a lot more tools, and that is to use an online counter. Now, there are plenty of good ones. I like this one from RapidTables.com. I'll put the link up for that. And same deal, I pasted the same chunk of manuscript into the window, and here are the good features. You can choose to hide numbers, hide common words, and this is mostly just going to be those prepositions and conjunctions we talked about, and hiding single letter words. And then you have the option of looking for one word at a time, 2-word phrases, or 3-word phrases. And those phrases will exclude the prepositions and conjunctions if you choose hide numbers. So we're going to click Update the Table, and we're looking for our 1-word occurrences. Start scrolling down here. And I would just, you'll use your own judgment, and anything that's used a great deal, take a look and see if you feel like it's an issue. Trust your instincts. Then we move on. We'll try 2-word phrases. We're going to click on 2. And most things here are 1 or 2 occurrences, but here's something. I found that I used the phrase "let out" 38 times in about 40,000 words. And that is going to be something I investigate. It's probably attached to dialogue, and that's way overused and unnecessary. Then if we want to look for 3-word phrases, same deal. So there you have it. We take this word counter, we look for our words and phrases that appear to be used a whole lot, trust our instincts on whether or not they might potentially be a problem. Some of them won't. And then just jot them down, go back to Word if that's what you're composing in, or Scrivener, use your find a word thing, look them up, and mix it up a little if necessary. A very quick, very simple, and free way to improve the quality of your writing. I hope this has been helpful, and we will see you next time.